step, we're going to be installing the rail buttons, but I first have to measure down inside the tube to get down to that centering ring, because we want the rail buttons to actually be able to hang on a part of the centering ring. Okay? And additionally, we want the other rail button to connect down to the centering ring that is at the furthest aft point down here. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of figuring because we've got plenty of epoxy that's built up, so I can't just use this yardstick and just take the measurement it gives me straight out. So we're going to figure it out. So what I've done is I have, to help me kind of look down and make sure that my measurements, I pin where they are, and I actually get like a good read on the rail buttons actually being straight, is what I've done is I use these little sewing needles, okay, because I didn't want to damage the paint too much if I got it wrong. And so you can see I have placed those right where I need them to be, and looking down the rocket itself, they are pretty well in a line, okay? Now for the drilling portion. Okay, now we have our rail buttons installed. There's the top one there and the aft one here, okay? And if we look down, they are nice and in a line. We are almost ready to go, folks. Hey everyone. All right, so we are at the stage right now. I know this is the 9th episode of this 10-part series. It looks like it's going to be. We are at the point where we are just finishing off our recovery system. And in doing so, today we're just going to get the inner line connected to the parachute, connected to the wadding, and from there, it's the very last bit until we're absolutely good to go. So, join us for the little bit left that we have. And there'll be a little countdown timer that I'm going to put on the screen there, or at least by the end of the video, I'll tell you just how many days we have left before this is an absolute go. All right? So the first thing we really want to do is we unfold our parachute and we fold it back in half so that each string on one side is touching another string on another side. Trying not to tangle them, we want to keep them together and nice and uniform. The whole bit of this packing is going to be so that when it launches and deploys the parachute at apogee, at the peak of its flight, that this will actually come out and unfurl the way it's supposed to. So now we've folded it a couple times to the point where all the lines are uniform at the center of the arc. Now for the next step. Twist. I'm simply going to tie a basic loop with these. Now we have our loop, okay, tied up. Now what we do is fold this, keeping all our lines together. We fold this one more time over so that all of our lines are on the edge. Okay, and now, dirty table. Now what we do is we're going to fold this back just a little so that it creates kind of this pillar shape here. Okay, now we're going to do what's called a Z-fold. That's our Z-fold right there. Okay. And there. All right, now we got the entire shot cord out of the tube itself. It's anchored down here in the body tube. Which you can see that in an earlier episode. I've measured this out in a particular way, given some of the guidance that we have here. Essentially, we're going to be working with a, quote, not the middle point of this. You'll kind of see what ends up happening. The idea here is that the parachute and nose cone won't bang up against the side of this tube as it's coming back down. We're also going to be placing it through a slot in this Nomex. The Nomex shield is a fire retardant shield that when the black powder charge on the top end of the engine here blasts out so it can eject the parachute and release the nose cone and everything, it makes sure that we don't burn up our parachute and actually flies to the ground. All right, now that we've done our little overhand knot and we now have here, you can see that this line, these lines and the Nomex aren't going anywhere. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to burrito this up, package it up. So, I'm gonna take our parachute here and our line, okay? We're gonna pretend like we work at Chipotle. And we're going to put this thing right here in the center. Okay. I might even redo my Z-fold just a little. There you go. Okay. And now with these, from right here, we don't want to just wrap them or coil them. You definitely don't want to wrap it around the parachute for this. We just want to zigzag a little, okay? So we're just going to zigzag our lines, okay? We want the best chance of deploy. Hi, little boo. I just made you number 3. Well, sure, you are Naomi number 3. Well, Naomi, do you want to see what Daddy's doing with the rocket?
You open the door. I'm just 3. She did not want to leave school.
Oh, well, Daddy's putting the big parachute on.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to see that?
Ladder. Oh, you remember the ladder?
Yeah, I can go there. Run it.
Well, look, Naomi.
You don't forget anything, do you?
you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can touch it, just don't pick it up. There you go. That's the parachute. The pink is the parachute. Yeah. And you see, that's what we call Nomex. Can you say Nomex?
Nomex.
That is what protects our parachute from the engine. Yeah. We're almost done, little Whoop. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Where's the rocket gonna
I
go?
like to swing.
You want to swing?
Yeah.
Where's the rocket gonna go?
Up on the other feet.
Up into outer space? Oh my gosh. Well, alrighty, boo. We're gonna build it, we're gonna finish it, and we're gonna launch it pretty soon, okay?
And you'll cover my ears?
Yes, we'll cover your ears. Can you
Oh.
say misfire?
Misfire.
Oh, boo. Alright, well. Okay. Now we're gonna wrap this up. Alright, now that we've got it wrapped, we're going to slide it down into the nose cone. And we want to slide it as far down as possible because we want the charge to really shoot it out, and we want to protect this recovery line as much as possible. Okay, so now what we did was we neatly kind of overlapped our lines. We didn't tie them up in a whole bundle or anything. We just sort of laid them in a nice little looped bundle here. And I just used some easy like masking tape here. And I stuck it on my skin a little before so it's not super sticky. But what I'm gonna do, this was most of our line that connects the body tube to the parachute. And I'm going to tuck this down in here, okay? Okay, so now we have this last little bit of line here. We're going to connect it to our nose cone, and we'll show you how we do that. Take a little bit of finagling. Alrighty. Now, we'll take our eye bolt here. And loop it through, lock it in. And there we go. That's locked in. So part of the reason why we do this and not just connect it to one of these little holes is that these break apparently very easily. And so what we're doing is we're putting this on here, a quick release little eye bolt here that distributes the load a lot more on the structure of the plastic nose cone. So now what we're gonna do, okay? And by the way, if you notice some tape on here, That has to do with adjustments we can make to make sure that this is a little bit firm, but not too firm, snug in there. It'll vary by temperature of actual launch day. Basically, you want to be able to hold the rocket, upside down, and this not just drop out. That way, if it's shooting up, this isn't likely to just fall out or rock out of the rocket. So, but again, based on temperature, humidity, that kind of fun stuff, you test it the day of and see how much tape or you need to take off or add based on that. So clearly, if it's colder, you probably have to put more. If it's warmer, you gotta take some off. So now what we're gonna do, last little part here, okay, is we are going to do the same thing we did with the inner part of the line with this whole line, okay? So, a little way that we were shown about that, okay, is wrap it on our pinky and thumb here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take my little piece of masking tape and I'm going to wrap that just like so, and do like that. So we got a little bundle that we are now going to tuck into here. Okay. Like that. We're just about good to go. The only other thing I'm going to do come launch day, and I'm going to put it on here, okay, on that little bit of line that's left there, is I'm going to mark where I want to put the GPS system, okay, that little module, that plastic module from an earlier episode. It's about 75 grams, and it's about, a few inches tall, and only about an inch or so wide. It latches onto the actual cord in there. So we'll work with that when we get to it. All ready for inspection day. Ready to launch. See you guys out there.